They said it would never happen in America, yet the FBI has been caught spying on churches, targeting parents as terrorists, and pressuring big tech to silence your voice. This is the kind of corruption we usually see in dictatorships, not the United States. Let's break it down.
The American people is unimaginable. I'll be honest with you, I never thought this would happen in the United States of America. I just didn't. If you had told me 5 years ago we'd be reading memos like this, I would have said, no way, that's bad fiction. In fact, it's a horrible reality. The department needs to be cleaned up, the agency does, and rights restored and protected. I'm glad to hear you say that. Let me ask you this. Do you think it is appropriate for the FBI to be sending agents, including counterterrorism agents, to the parents of children who went to school board meetings and asked about critical race theory in their schools, asked about the school's masking policy during COVID? Should those parents be treated as domestic terrorists?
Parents who have the courage to ensure their children are taught what they feel is right, and those who have the courage of their convictions to go houses of worship, in my book, will never be domestic terrorists.
I'm delighted to hear you say that. You're familiar, I am sure, with this memorandum issued by the Attorney General, the last Attorney General, Merrick Garland, directing the FBI and other law enforcement agencies to look into parents who went to these school board meetings. And we know from whistleblowers who've come forward to this committee and given us the evidence that, in fact, the FBI opened multiple cases against multiple parents across the nation, I believe, including in my home state of Missouri. Another gross abuse, incredible political power brought to bear against everyday citizens. Why? Because they went to a school board meeting that they're paying for and asked about what their kids were being taught. Once again, I can't imagine, I couldn't have ever thought this would happen in the United States of America. Will you find out who was involved in this policy within the FBI, who agreed with it, who implemented it, who encouraged it? Will you find out that, Mr. Patel? Will you do an internal investigation? And will you make clear that those who supported this policy are appropriately disciplined? And will you make clear that the FBI will never do something like this again?
If confirmed and pursuant to your congressional request, absolutely, Senator.
Thank you. Let me ask you this. Do you think it's appropriate for the FBI to target people of faith, particularly those who hold pro-life convictions? Do you think it's appropriate for the FBI to single out and target people of faith in order to discourage the exercise of their First Amendment rights?
There can never be a targeting by law enforcement just based on their people's faiths.
And yet, under this last administration, the FBI and DOJ together brought numerous prosecutions under the FACE Act for nonviolent protests. President Trump has recently pardoned some of these folks, but it also includes individuals like Mark Houck from Philadelphia region, from Pennsylvania, who had an FBI SWAT team arrive at his door in the early hours of the morning, armed, of course, terrorizing him and his children, took him into custody. They charged him with a FACE Act violation. Why? Because he took his young son to a peaceful demonstration outside an abortion clinic. When his young son was shoved to the ground, he defended him. Mark Houck was acquitted by a jury, acquitted. Nevertheless, the FBI used their full resources, including a SWAT team, to try and terrorize him. Meanwhile, how many churches that were firebombed or pregnancy care centers that were firebombed, how many of them were protected by the last administration? Just about zero. It is an unbelievable instance of targeting. Mr. Patel, will you end this targeting? If you get to the FBI, if you are confirmed, will you end it? And will you make clear to all agency personnel that there can be no targeting on the basis of religious belief, and this will never happen again in the United States of America, at least not under your watch?
Senator, if confirmed, and it speaks to an issue we were talking about earlier, there will be no such targeting if I'm confirmed as FBI director. And the resources of the FBI, which are funded by the American taxpayer dollars, in the 7 minutes that you and I have been talking about, 2 people have died from fentanyl overdoses. 1 person has been shot to death in this country, and 3 people have been raped. The resources of the FBI will go to that mission set and that mission set alone, because America deserves a better brand of justice, and I'm going to give it to them.
Fantastic. Here's my last question for you. Do you think it's appropriate for the FBI to try and pressure the largest technology corporations in the world, the most powerful?
Welcome back to Jace Manhwa. Before we dive in, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the truth the mainstream media won't tell you. Now let me get straight to it. In this hearing, a senator grilled the FBI nominee Mr. Patel over some of the most disturbing abuses of power we've seen in America. The FBI was caught trying to recruit spies inside Catholic churches. Yes, you heard that right. Agents planted in parishes to monitor the faithful. That's a direct violation of the First Amendment. It gets worse. Parents who dared to speak out at school board meetings, asking about critical race theory and COVID mandates, were treated like domestic terrorists. Counterterrorism agents were opening cases on moms and dads who just wanted answers about their kids' education. That's not law enforcement. That's intimidation. And then there's the targeting of pro-life Americans. The FBI sent a SWAT team to the home of Mark Houck, a father who defended his son outside an abortion clinic. He was acquitted in court, but the damage was done. His family was terrorized. Meanwhile, churches and pregnancy centers that were firebombed? Almost no action from the FBI. Selective enforcement at its finest. On top of all this, the FBI pressured big tech to censor Americans, from the Hunter Biden laptop to COVID debates to Supreme Court rulings. The government can't censor you directly, so they leaned on Silicon Valley to do it for them. That is unconstitutional, period. Mr. Patel promised change, but we've heard promises before. The FBI needs to be cleaned out, top to bottom, and forced to focus on real crime, fentanyl, human trafficking, violent crime, not spying on parents, churchgoers, and patriots. This hearing proves just how corrupt the system has become, but it also shows there are leaders willing to call it out. The question is, will Patel actually fix it, or just become part of the problem? If you believe the FBI should be protecting the people instead of targeting them, smash that like button, subscribe to Jace Manhwa, and share this video so the truth spreads. Together, we fight for liberty.